Sup peeps, my name is Ian, I sell books on eBay, and welcome back to the channel. This is the one where I really have to admit, eBay is not easy. It does not make it easy to make money. It really doesn't. I know from comments and watching other people's videos, this January has been a particularly bad month for a lot of people. It's by far my worst month ever on eBay, which there's some irony in that, as this is when I've decided to start doing these daily updates every single day, trying to do the 365 in a row. It's been brutal. It really has been absolutely brutal. Cash flow is at zero. There's no money to buy new stock. Barely enough money to pay the bills and the fees and everything that come out, beyond eBay and getting involved in the whole reselling lark. And it's difficult. It's difficult. So I feel for everyone else that's in the same situation. But all you can do is keep going, keep looking at how you can improve things and try and get those sales coming in. So 3 sales since I spoke to you yesterday. Yesterday started okay. I mean, not good, but it was okay compared to how the rest of the month has been. And it just stopped dead. Stopped dead. I think I had one single sale coming in since I spoke to you last. There were a couple that had come in that I just needed to go and pick, so I didn't share them with you at that point. But yeah, 3 sales, and not particularly brilliant sales. One of them's okay, but just bog standard, low value, no money, eBay sales. Downery. Anyway, let's look on the positive side and talk about the ones that did actually sell, so that, we can see there's still life in the old dog yet. So first up we have, for £6.84, Katie Ford, Wedding in Provence. One from, I've got a Katie Ford listing, and that's one that's been bought by itself from that listing, so £2.85 plus £3.99 postage. So, that's something. Another one, this time for, I think it was £12.99, we've got 4 Anne Cleves and a Stuart McBride. So a bundle of 5, again from my multi-listings. So £12.99 for the 5 of those, which is a sale I'm quite happy. Both of these sales are absolutely fine. They make me ample profit for the outlay, the effort, etc. But when there's only 2 of them, it makes it hard. Really, 20 sales like that a day, average across the 2, would be just enough to kind of scrape a living. 2 doesn't cut it. Thankfully, the 3rd sale was a little bit better, but I've already packed it up and dropped it off earlier this morning, because I could. These 2 will be going very shortly. It was, I'm trying to see if I've got any other copies of them kicking about. Yes, here we go. It was all 7 of the Robert Galbraith paperback books. So from Cuckoo's Calling all the way through to, is it The Burning Shore? Something like that. The 7 of them, and they went for £34.99. So that's a nice sale. That's the kind of thing that makes it worthwhile. But again, when it's just there by itself, it really does not cut it in the slightest. So that's the sales. And today, it's Saturday. I'm drinking coffee. I really need to think about what I can do to try and up these daily numbers. There's been 2 days in January where I've hit the average number that I need to sustain this as a business. 2 days, and today's the 18th. So that's 16 days where it's been well below average, which it's difficult to see how this month can be survived, I'll be perfectly honest. So for these last 12, 13 days of the month, I need to find something within what I have at the moment, because like I say, there's zero cash left to go out and do any further sourcing. But I need to find a way of getting money out of what I have sitting here. I do have a few £100 worth of stuff to get listed. I've been slowing down a wee bit with the listing because I know I'm not going to be able to get huge amounts of stock in, and I want stuff to be going up on a daily basis just to keep the interest peaked there. But beyond that, really needing to think about how else to capitalise on the stock that I've got, the resources available, and all of these things. Sorry, too much coffee in my system. So, bundles to list. Going to try some bigger bundles. Thinking very hard about what to do outside of eBay. In the last few weeks, I have taken a look at building a website. The logistics and complications behind that, they're certainly not insurmountable, but it requires a bit of rejigging in what I do on eBay to allow it. I'm really wary of having things listed in two different places because that's just going to end up badly. But I think that's what I need to do. So I need to build a system to make sure I can track that properly, keep on top of it, and decide what I would want to sell on a separate website. I was looking at the kind of rarer special edition, antique, limited edition, signed type items to put just on the website and see how that runs. But I need to really just go ahead and do it. That's half the battle. Set up a nice wee area for taking pictures, which is probably the biggest difference between selling on my own platform rather than just using eBay. On eBay, you can get away with fairly generic pictures just because people are already in there, already know what they're looking at. There is a kind of typical standard on eBay, which if you can go slightly beyond what most books get pictured as, then, that's good enough. Doing it on my own platform, my own website, then things have to be set up better. So I need to look at how I can make sure that I've got that photography capability and an area in which to do it, which is clean, looks the part, and will hopefully catch people's eye and get them in. The other part of that is obviously driving traffic to a website. The advantage of eBay and why we'll use eBay is because they have millions and millions of customers. So there's going to be, umpteen people going onto that website every day, and there's a chance that you'll be able to drag some of them towards the items you're trying to sell and make a few sales. But that only counts if you're making enough sales. When you're getting 3 orders in almost a 24-hour period, is it worth all of the extra that you've paid to eBay to get that done? So if you take into account your monthly shop fees, if that's what you do, your listing fees, promoted listing fees, all of these bits and pieces, is it worth it? Fees for yesterday for me, probably £10 to £15. So how many Facebook ads might that have paid for? How many Google sponsored listings might that have paid for? And could that have generated more in sales value than, making £20 via eBay? These are the things to consider. So I am thinking very hard about that. Design, content, what to list, how to drive customers to it. These are all things that I'm just rolling around in my head at the moment. And when you're in a tight spot with a business, then you start getting the stresses and the worries about, God, if these sales do not pick up, then completely screwed. And as soon as you get that into your head, it becomes very difficult to then relax, take a step back and look at that other direction, because the panic sets in. And, well, once panic sets in, all plans can go out the window. There are some costs obviously involved with setting up your own website, whether it's getting a domain name or paying for a monthly platform fee. And cash flow has got so low at the moment that, to be honest, even that would be a stretch. So I still need a couple of half decent days on eBay to fund setting up a very simple, basic website, whether that's on Shopify or Squarespace, or going through a platform that lets me do it all for free, and then just add in some Stripe payment functions, etc. So it's tense. It's difficult at the moment, and I know pretty much everyone is in the same boat who's trying to make any money doing this. So I feel for y'all, and curious to hear what others are doing to try and overcome the whole eBay is crap scenario at the moment. There are other selling platforms. Yes, we've got Vinted. The amount of effort that goes into creating a Vinted listing to sell stuff so incredibly cheap, it's just not worth it. I have dabbled with that. I've made a few sales in Vinted. I signed up for Vinted Pro. But really, the stuff that sells on there, you're making less than minimum wage for the effort involved. Part of the issue there is obviously the postage side of things. So you don't, for me with eBay it's easy, everything's going to Royal Mail, so therefore I've got one quick drop to do every day. On Vinted, it's not that simple, people want different postage options, and they will choose different postage options, so you could end up having to spend an extra half hour a day bobbing around different places to drop off parcels for different carriers, which if you've only made a couple of quid in sales, then there's absolutely zero point in making that effort at all. So that's the Vinted consideration. Whatnot, I tried Whatnot for a bit last year, and it was okay, but the organisation required to get a sale set up, get all the listings created, again, a lot more effort creating a Whatnot listing than there is an eBay listing. Same with Vinted. It takes more to create those Vinted listings than it does to put up my eBay listings. So it needs to be stuff that's going to make money on every listing you put up. So if you spend, the last Whatnot sale I did, it took me, I think, nearly 8 hours in total to prepare it, get all the things listed, do the actual sale, do the shipping, etc. It was nearly 8 hours, and it made about £70 profit. So again, just not worth it. The effort does not warrant the payoff. That's something that can be done just as oh my god, I need some cash coming in, but it's not a quick cash flow either. Again, much like Vinted, when you sell something, you have to wait before you can get the payout for it. So it doesn't fix short-term cash flow problems, which again makes it seem even less worthwhile. The reason I did do it back last year was they were running an offer that in the first 30 days or whatever it was, whatever you sold, they would match it up to 150 quid. So Whatnot gave me an extra £150 for the stuff that I sold, which just about made it worth it. But beyond that, a normal daily sale, it's hard to see how that can be in any way profitable, other than paying yourself less than minimum wage to do it. For the stuff I'm selling, I know it's a great site for other bits and pieces, but when all you're doing is churning out books, it's really not worth it. It needs, cheap books need a platform where you can just put them up and leave them to it and let them sell, and Whatnot doesn't really allow for that. You need to be putting the effort in there and then. I do really enjoy doing the Whatnot stuff, but it's just not worth it for me at the moment. There are other options out there, I know. Amazon, I tried to sign up to sell on Amazon again last year, and when I go into my account, I am still getting we are processing your whatever. So I've kind of just given up on that. And again, to be honest, there's very little money to be made selling books on Amazon, for compared to the effort required putting in. If you've got the technology sat behind it so that it's all kind of automated, like big sellers have, then that might make it worthwhile, but I'm far, far, far away from being able to do that. So that leaves me online with just eBay at the moment, or my own website, which I need to be thinking about. So I'm really, I talk these things through out loud, because sometimes when you do that, a penny will drop and it'll be a case of, oh, right, okay, I could try that. That might work. Unfortunately, that's not happening just now. So I need to keep thinking, keep racking the brains, try and clear the head, and focus on something that will allow me to get these sales improved over the next few days, because they have to. They really, 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 really have to. If things don't get back to normal as of today, then by the end of the month, we're in real trouble, and I'm not quite sure how I will get my way around that one. The other option for increasing sales, making more money, having a slightly different revenue stream, spoke about it yesterday, and that's setting up some sort of retail outlet. One of the options I have, which could be viable in the next few weeks, it's not something I could do right now, would be getting involved in the Project Scotland Pop-Up Project. It's those three words in one order or another. So, for potentially, I don't know, maybe 20 quid a day, I could have space to be selling certain titles, certain books in their premises. Would probably have to focus on quite particular things, like fantasy, sci-fi, horror. Just stock up on those. So there's potential there. But if it's 20 quid a day, that's quite a lot of money every month. £600 a month would mean having to make pretty reasonable sales every single day, again, to make that worthwhile. The option beyond that is fully my own retail spot. Even in a town which is as broken and run down as Kilmarnock, you would still be looking at a couple of grand a month for something that's got sufficient footprint to be able to have a shop front stock, have eBay stock, space to work and do all of these things. On top of that, potentially there would have to be some sort of staff involved in it, because I wouldn't be able to do that full time myself and still get all the other parts of the business dealt with. So there's a lot of costs involved in that, which means that there's quite a significant outlay. It would, back of a fag packet calculation, 10 grand minimum really to get that set up and running at any kind of adequate way, and that would include having a wee bit of cash there to, pay some wages if needed, and get additional stock, fitting out a shop space, signage, all of these things, that all adds up. So that is unachievable at the moment, unless there is, I don't know, maybe I've got a rich uncle or auntie somewhere that I've never heard of that has just passed away tragically and has left me some money. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's not going to happen. So that is something that would be nice to do, but again, it has to be in the future. And to fund something like that, eBay would need to improve to actually allow that revenue to come in, to start thinking about that. So there's lots and lots of things to think about and do. And again, I'm not having a bitch and a moan about this. We do eBay. We know how it works. It's frustrating, yes. Is it the end of the world? No. If this doesn't work out, then go and get a wee job in Tesco or something, stacking shelves for a bit. But there has to be a solution and a way through, and I just haven't thought of it yet. But you guys are in the same boat who do this. Those that don't do it, then enjoy the ride. I was going to say precariously. That's not the word I am thinking of. Vicariously. There you go. You can vicariously enjoy the ride of selling stuff on eBay, or failing to sell stuff on eBay, as many of us seem to be doing at the moment, and see where it goes from there. So I am now just flapping my gums. I'm not really making much sense, am I? I'm just talking in circles. And I am now procrastinating because I really should be getting that couple of orders packed up, get a few things listed, get some more stuff onto the eBay site, and try and decide what I'm going to do next to boost this business and keep things going. Something that doesn't cost any money will be the best way to do it. So yeah, we'll just need to wait and see what happens. The other thing is that if everybody likes, shares, subscribes, comments, does all of these things, then maybe I'll get 1 million views on this video. And then in a couple of months, eBay will give me like thousands of pounds in ad revenue. Not eBay, YouTube. Wouldn't that be lovely? Again, not realistic, but you know, if this video gets to 1 million, I will open a bookshop. How's that for a deal? And then we can do this every day in the bookshop. Wouldn't that be lovely? So there you go. There's the challenge. Get this video to 1 million views, and yeah, I'll open a bookshop. Yeah, how's that for a deal? It's very easy to say these things, but you know they're not going to happen, and you don't have to commit to anything. But that's where we are just now. Anyway, I am going to stop just now. I am hoping that there'll be another couple of orders come in over the next short while that I can come back and share with you before finishing this video up. So hopefully I will see you in a few seconds. Turns out eBay doesn't hate me after all. I've had 2 more orders. 2 orders. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's not great for a day. But I've had 2 orders, so eBay doesn't hate me. eBay loves me. And the first of those orders is a stack of 20, random bundle of 20 kids' pictures books for $24.99. So I can pick up dozens of these at a really good price. So that's what I do. And that's a bundle of 20. It's probably slightly more than 20 for $24.99. And the second order is Terry Pratchett's Witches Abroad, a nice original artwork. And it's a first print, first edition paperback copy of that. So 2 orders for $44.99. Once I've paid today's postage, eBay fees, and all the rest of it, then that's going to work out as nearly £5 an hour I've made today for the time I've spent doing the wee bits and pieces with eBay, and including, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour making this video. So that's a really good rate, £5 an hour. I mean, I haven't made that amount of money since I was like, you know, maybe 18, 19, 32 years ago, since I've earned that amount of money as an hourly rate. So that's phenomenal. Can't beat it. But, you know, as I said earlier on, this is what eBay is. So we've got to keep trying to adapt and find different ways of making sure that you're not stuck, which is where I am and where I swore I would never get to, with only having that kind of one revenue coming in. Because if it goes bad, you're gubbed. So you've got to make sure that we diversify, which is what I've been scratching my head with all day. But that's all. I thought I'd just come on, let you know that eBay loves me after all, and gave me another 2 sales today. So that's me at nearly £45 worth of sales on Saturday the 18th. That must be the 18th of January. Can he beat it? If you've enjoyed this, like, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. Mind, if we get 1 million views in this video, I will open a bookshop. Yeah, pinch of salt and all the rest of it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.